This is On the Sidelines with Box 13.
All right, this is the On the Sidelines podcast. I'm your host, Ethan McReynolds, here as always with my partner in crime, DJack Dante Jackson. Dante, I got my Lucky Mariners jersey on. Yes. I got the Sonics 206 underneath. The Mariners are 2-0 in 2-0 in the playoffs, and then also the AL West clincher in this jersey. I'm ready to go. The Mariners are about to take a 3-0 lead in the ALCS. They're up 2-0 right now. On coming home tonight, they're going to be playing probably when you're listening to this. The Mariners are 2 wins away from a World Series, DJack.
Yes, I mean, who would have thunk it? Well, I'll tell you, I did. All
right. You love a victory lap.
You know what? Let me pat myself on the back. You know, I've been on board since day one. As a matter of fact, both of us has been on board since day one. This is the podcast, the show of champions. We demanded a championship, and the Mariners are 2 wins away from competing for a World Series.
Just don't go listen to the show from back in April. Those were some dark days. I'm not gonna lie. Yeah, they've really been playing some complete baseball, DJack. And you talk about the team, frustration when the team's not firing on all cylinders. Right now, could they be firing more on all cylinders? I mean, the offense has been incredible. They're scoring 4.6 runs per game over this entire playoff stretch. And, man, the pitching has been inconsistent throughout the entire season. But right now they're rocking an ERA in the entire postseason of under 3 at 2.83. That is a recipe for success if I've ever seen one myself.
Yes, the pitching has showed up finally and at the right time, and the timely hitting, also bringing in some runs and scoring a little bit. And I think they have more, like I always say, it's more meat on the bone. I think they can actually play better. I don't believe they played their best game. So look for the Mariners to come out just on firing on all cylinders tonight.
Well, and you saw in game 2, Logan Gilbert did not have his best stuff, yet he still, I think he got you through 3 or 4 innings. Edward Bizzardo comes in, absolutely shuts the door. I mean, how good has Bizzardo been? The Blue Jays don't have a hit in this series after the second inning.
Right.
Or one hit after the second inning in the first 2 games. Absolutely incredible stuff. The bullpen, I think, has been nails outside of that game 4 in Detroit. Just the one blip, but Edward Bizzardo, Andres Munoz hasn't allowed a run. Matt Brash has been really good. Gabe Spire's done his job outside of the blip in Game 4. Game 5 was a tough moment for him as well. But for the most part, these guys have been absolutely nails.
Yes, and you know what? I'm going to give you your flowers because it's 2 people that you pinpointed. And when we talked about end-of-season awards, you pinpointed Jorge Polanco and Eddie Bizzardo as kind of your unsung heroes. And those 2 guys alone are basically the team MVPs, if you ask me. Bizzardo pitching longer than he ever had, one of his longest outings, striking out 4. He's been amazing, especially kind of, bridging that bullpen to the closer in Munoz, and Munoz has been rock solid like he has been all year. It's all working right now for the Mariners.
Yeah, and I mean, we talk about the pitching lab all the time with Jerry DiPoto, and I think I'd mentioned on the podcast how it wasn't bearing as much fruit recently as it had, before with the Drew Steckenriders of the world and the Eric Swansons. Edward Bizzardo, man, he has some nasty stuff, and we talked about in our end of season episode about how you had 0 expectations for this guy coming into the season. I mean, it was a guy who last season in 2024 was on the fringe of the roster, was your last bullpen arm who you were throwing in blowouts. Now he's being put into the most pivotal positions. He's basically taken over that Matt Brash pivot role to, as you said, bridge the gap to Matt Brash and Andres Munoz. You're two of the nastiest arms in all of baseball. You've got, man, and then you add Carlos Vargas and Gabe Spire, and that's 5 dudes that are throwing 96, 97 plus coming out of your bullpen in the back end after you get through what is already a special rotation led by Logan Gilbert, Luis Castillo, George Kirby, Bryce Miller with the start of his life in Game 1. Can we talk about that?
Yes.
Game 1. Oh, my goodness. I don't think anyone in the world thought, DJack, maybe you did. You think they're going to win every game.
That was a throwaway game.
That was a throwaway game. 15 innings. Your bullpen threw 9 1/3 of shutout baseball in Game 5. 2 days later, you're going to go to Toronto, that crowd was rocking.
Yes.
And you shut them down.
Yes, and we thought, oh, here we go again.
Yeah.
You get a leadoff home run. George Springer hits a home run first pitch, and then it was deaf mute from that point on. The Mariners pitching staff just shut the Toronto Blue Jays down. And those dudes, they on scholarship too. They have Vlad Guerrero Jr.,
Yep.
George Springer. He did get one, but that was the only one. You have power over there. They're the number 1 seed for a reason, and the Mariners have kept them quiet so far. Let's hope they can do it for 2 more games.
And Cal Raleigh gets to their best pitcher in Kevin Gausman. Like it's not like they had, in game 2.
And he was dealing too.
Gausman was dealing. And, they're I was happy to see Gausman go out after 70-some pitches or whatever when they pulled him in the 6th. I felt like they should have stayed with him. It was just the one mistake to Cal that really, got him.
Is that really a mistake? You talking about the presumptive MVP, Cal Raleigh, was over 60 home runs. Was that really? You're going to give up 1 or 2 here or there.
Yeah.
And Cal Raleigh going to get a hold of it.
It was a decent pitch. He left it in the inside part of the plate.
Yeah.
I don't think you're trying to leave a splitter down.
You're not going to groove it down the middle for him. But all I'm saying is Cal Raleigh is the MVP for a reason. So he's good. Also, I agree with you. Gausman has sat, I think, like 16 straight, something like that. A crazy number. They could not touch him. And I think is comparable to when they pulled, Skubal. He was dealing also, and he got pulled with like 70-something pitches.
He was at 99, but in a winner-take-home game, I was also surprised that they pulled. I mean, you got to ride him 120 pitches. Like, you don't ride him until his arm falls off, right?
Yes, it's no tomorrow.
Yeah, exactly.
It's no tomorrow. You have to ride that pitcher, definitely. So I was happy to see Gausman leave also because they could not touch him. Nobody could. Finally, Cal touches him up and hits one over the fence. They pull him, and then the floodgates open from that point on. So, and the Mariners haven't looked back, and that was a game that I think we all had conceded was probably a throwaway game. Yeah. And Bryce Miller, he pitched the game of his life. It's exactly what the Mariners need. He actually saved this series by saving that bullpen that day, and now they're pitching on regular rest. So I think that game was pivotal. Excuse me. I can't even.
Pivotal.
Yeah, I'm trying to say it, but I ain't even going to try it again. You know what I mean. Yes, it was crucial to the series. Yeah. Bryce Miller might have saved this series.
Well, I think that's the gutsiest pitching performance of the entire season. He had the highest average velocity on his fastball of the entire season for him personally, and he's on short rest.
Yes.
And he's pitching in the postseason. Second career playoff start. Absolutely incredible. I thought he was dealing, what was that, was that game 4 against the Tigers? I felt like Dan pulled him a little too quickly at 55 pitches. He wasn't giving up very much hard contact. And then, I guess luckily he only threw 55 pitches.
Yes.
Because he had to come back in game 1 and he had to save the season. Really. Yes. That's tough because if you lose that game 1 like everybody expected you to, that puts a lot of pressure on you in game 2. Sorry, if you lose that game 1.
Yes.
Puts a lot of pressure on game 2 because if you allow the Blue Jays to maintain home field advantage, They only got to win 1 at your home park to really take control of the series.
Yes.
That puts a lot of pressure on you to win 3 straight. That's hard to do in the playoffs.
Yes, it
is. So not only do you steal game 1, but then you set yourself up to be like, no, we're not satisfied. Dante, you always say get greedy. They got greedy in that game too. Man, that was a lot of fun. You just jump on the rookie and Trey Savage, which, by the way, the Blue Jays took. A lot of people have been saying this 5 picks after Durangelo Saincha. The Mariners almost drafted Trey Savage over Saincha in last year's draft. He is a Ben Williamson type prospect where he has just skyrocketed through the system. And now he's pitching in the playoffs. And you can see why. The stuff is incredible, but the Mariners with a limited scouting report on this guy, limited video and everything. They go out and they just pounce on him. Yeah. Julio with the 3. You get away with the strike 3 call on Randy in the first pitch of the game with the walk, and then Julio with the 3-run bomb. Julio's coming up big in some clutch moments, which is something that we have not seen from him.
Yes, and something he has to do in order to make that next step to becoming a superstar. Mm-hmm. He's a star right now. If he wants to be a superstar, he needs to have at-bats like he did in Game 2 and put that game away early with the 3-run homer. I want to talk about the umpiring, though, in Game 2. I think where was that strike zone? I mean, he couldn't find a strike zone all night long. The umpire did, and I mean, I thought it was atrocious, some of the calls, and they went both ways, so it didn't really affect the game one way or another, but it was some squeeze. Logan Gilbert was dealing, I thought, and it was some strikes that just was not called. So the frustration was there, but, Logan Gilbert, he battled through it. I like his start also. Every start is not going to be 1 run, 2 runs. They let him go. It was still 3-3 when he left the game. So is it still a new game out there? Logan Gilbert held it down for the Mariners, and I think he had a tough outing, but I like that gutsy effort that Logan Gilbert gave us.
Yeah, especially, I mean, you saw that it was not his best stuff. Right. He wasn't really feeling the splitter as much as he normally does. The slider was a little bit off. Just leaving pitches in the middle of the plate, but he battled through it,
yes.
As you mentioned. And then, Julio, obviously with the big 3-run bomb, but I mean, with the double in Game 2 of the ALDS, single-handedly won that game for him. So, that was the double to win in Game 2, right? Yeah.
Yes.
So, I mean, Julio's been coming up big. I mean, Cal's hitting .357 with 6 walks over the postseason with a couple of bombs. And breaks open that Game 1. So he's been incredible. And then you mentioned Jorge Polanco. I love this stat. Polanco's the first player in MLB history, it's from OptaStats, with go-ahead hits after the 5th inning in 3 straight playoff games.
Yes.
First player in MLB history to do that.
Well,
for our Jorge Polanco.
Yes.
I mean, that's crazy. Hip, hip, hooray.
Yes.
Let's go.
Hey, and you had playoff Randy, right? Now
we're still waiting for playoff Randy.
But now you have playoff Polanco.
Yeah.
I think he's overtaken that and has been a leader of this team. His quiet demeanor, the timely hits, unflappable when he gets in the box. And I think Dan Wilson wants him in these situations. He has been one of the clutch, as a matter of fact, he has been the most clutch hitter on this team all season long, if you look at the numbers. Even with the MVP in Cal, Jorge Polanco has been the most clutch hitter in those situations. So he's carried that over to the postseason. Let's hope he can stay hot for 6 more games, and the Mariners will be going to the promised land.
Oh, man, yeah, that I love hearing that.
Yes.
And, the craziest thing about this offense, and this offense is going off, and it's stealing a lot of the headlines, is you've got 2 key contributors in Randy Arozarena and Gino Suarez, who have literally done nothing so far in the playoffs. You're still waiting for those guys to wake up a little bit. I feel like Randy has been slumping for long enough to where it would justify moving him out of the leadoff spot where he's getting the most plate appearances on your entire team. But he's battling right now. I think he knows that he's slumping. I would wish that he would stop swinging for the fences every time and just, lace a line drive into right center. But he's working his walks and he's active on the base pass. So it's not like you're getting nothing out of him.
Right.
Gino, you're getting that cold Gino that you're accustomed to. He's a very streaky player. If either one of those guys joins Cal, Polanco, Julio, Naylor, man, that's dangerous. And then Dom Canzone hasn't done anything either, and we know him this season to be a very capable hitter. JP hasn't really done too much. We know what he can do. Victor Robles. Yes. You go 1 through 9. Yeah. All these guys are capable guys, and you got 4 of the 9 performing right now.
And that's what I talked about as far as the still meat on the bone, and this team can get better.
Yes.
I can see it in Rosarena's eyes and Victor Robles. You can see it in their at-bats. They're pressing. They want to be part of the success. Although the team is winning, they want to be a reason why. And you can see it in their at-bats. So they're pressing. Maybe when they get back home, get some of their home cooking, sleep in their own bed, relax a little bit. You'll see them shine this Wednesday night's game. I expect Arozarena. I'm going to keep saying his name until he pops up and shows up. I want him. Playoff Randy will make an appearance tonight, Wednesday night, in this game.
I like it. Well, and the biggest thing for me with Randy is, Randy, we don't need you to hit a 10-run bomb. Stop trying to do the impossible. Stay up the middle. Hit a line drive to right center. I think we just need to get back to a more simple approach. I'm pretty tired of him swinging for the fences. I just don't, when you're late to the fastball and you're just swinging for the fences, that's just not a recipe for success. That is my unofficial coaching opinion.
Okay, Edgar. New hitting coach. Okay.
I am curious.
But he is pressing. You can see it.
I am curious when players are in these slumps and you see them swinging for the fences and stuff, because it seems like a really obvious thing as a fan to observe. Those hitting coaches are seeing it too. So it's curious whether, what the coaches are telling him versus like if he's like taking that in or if he's just like, no, screw that. I'm just going to like try to go for it. I don't know. It's interesting.
Well, I mean, these guys, like I say before, they've been playing their whole life, so they know the ways.
Yeah.
That's all they got to do is connect on one, and then the floodgates will open up, I assume,
And they know their swings better than anyone.
Right, but he is pressing. You can see that, and so is Victor Robles. I can see it in their face. Mm-hmm. They're trying so hard. Yeah. They want to be a part of success. The Mariners are winning right now. They don't want to be carried. They want to help carry the team. So, and I give them kudos for that. But at the same time, relax. And like you said, just, go with the pitch. Like, go take what they giving you and stop trying to put it over the fence every time because it's not happening right now.
One of the cool things is that the Mariners are having all this success, and their best, most consistent starting pitcher has not touched the mound in the playoffs. Brian Wu. Have not seen him. And the Mariners made it through the ALDS.
Yes, they did.
They are up 2-0 in the American League Championship Series, and we have not seen Brian Wu. We should see him probably in Game 5 if he even gets there. How big of a boost is he going to be to this rotation?
I don't know. You know what? I'll be honest. I'm concerned. I don't know if I want to see Brian Wu in that high leverage type of situation. And it's not the fact that his stuff. I think he has the stuff. I just don't think he should be out there to exert himself and hope and get hurt again. So I want them to protect Brian Wu. Hopefully he's fully healthy. I know he's thrown some simulated games and a couple bullpens, and they say okay, but that's different than the game. You get those juices flowing. He'll try to throw extra hard. I'm just concerned for his health. I want Brian Wu back as bad as anybody, but I want him back for the long haul also in his long-term health. I don't know if I want to see Brian Wu. I think this pitching staff could use him, definitely, but they've been fine without him. As a matter of fact, they've been historic without him. So, do you want him in those high leverage type situations right now? He just drops on the playoffs, the ALCS, maybe even the World Series. That'll be his first game. I don't trust that, Ethan. I don't know why.
I think winning tonight is extra crucial because you can still lose Game 4 and then you're in Game 5. Brian Wu up 3-1, less pressure. It wouldn't be like a 2-2 situation, So I feel like, and I think Dan said it'll just be like a 50-pitch outing for Wu. So it's not like they're just throwing him into the fire and like he's good to go and we're firing all cylinders. Like he's going to be in a pitch count, and so. You got to be ready for that. Dan Wilson managing this team because the bullpen's going to be exerted in that start whenever Brian Wu comes back. Man, I just think they wouldn't be throwing him in a playoff game like you're mentioning if he wasn't ready to go. I think with how careful this organization is with their pitching and particularly with Brian Wu. Remember how they managed him last year when he was dealing with all those injuries.
Yes.
So I think they know those facts of how good this pitching staff is. I feel like they wouldn't have wasted, quote unquote, for the championship series if he was not ready to go and actually contribute to this team.
So you're saying trust the organization?
I think there is a lot of evidence to back up and support trusting their injury management when it comes to the pitching staff.
Okay.
I have a lot of faith in how they manage things. And I think that when we see Brian Wu, if there's any red flags or whatever, they're going to manage it appropriately, and they're going to make sure that they take, Brian Wu's long-term health into consideration.
Yeah, and speaking of managing, let's talk about Dan Wilson.
Yes, I was going to bring him up. Yeah.
We have to make sure we talk about him because he's made some great moves. Now, he was criticized in Game 1, Game 2. Mm-hmm. He kept Kirby in there, probably one pitch too many. Yeah. He made a couple changes that was too early. But so far, Dan Wilson has made some masterful moves, and one of the biggest being the Leo Rivas pinch hitting for Dom Canzone after Canzone was in the in the circle getting ready. He burns Dom Canzone and goes with Rivas, the switch hitter, and Rivas delivers a tying run. So, if he wouldn't have did that, then you're saying, what is he doing there? He burns a player. But the fact that Rivas came through and Dan Wilson said it's a complete staff, a complete team, because he gave credit to, I think, bench coach Manny Acta, if I'm not mistaken, saying that he thought it was a good idea to go with Rivas. So he went with it. So, but Dan Wilson, you the man, you the head coach, you get that credit. great moves by Dan Wilson so far, out coaching or out managing, outsmarting some of the most experienced managers in the game.
Yeah, I mean, it was a very fascinating cat and mouse game between A.J. Hinch and Dan Wilson. You think about, the move from A.J. Hinch to move Kerry Carpenter into that leadoff spot. You're forcing Dan's hand with his pitching staff, one hitter earlier. You go back to Game 4 of the ALDS where Dan brings in Gabe Spire to replace Bryce Miller after 55 pitches. It was you had Parker Meadows, the lefty, up in the 8th spot, Javi Baez in the 9th spot with Kerry Carpenter in the leadoff spot. Relievers got to face 3 dudes minimum, right, unless they get out of the inning. So you've got the 8-9-1. You bring him in at the bottom of the order, Gabe Spire, because you know that he has to face Kerry Carpenter. Carpenter's in that 2 spot. I bet you they rock with Bryce Miller, and it probably works out better for the Mariners. I would have rather seen him wait for Kerry Carpenter to bring in Spire, but you understand with A.J. Hinch making that move to have Kerry Carpenter hit earlier in the lineup, why they brought in Gabe Spire. So it's interesting seeing that in the playoffs. I'm not used to watching playoff baseball, so this is all very new to me.
It's all new.
It's all very new to me.
Yeah.
It's fascinating. And then you see Dan Wilson getting the last laugh with burning Dom Canzone.
Right.
I have never seen that before in my entire life. Again, I've not watched a lot of playoff baseball.
Right.
Maybe this happens all the time.
No.
I've literally never seen it. And you saw, it felt like A.J. Hinch was winning the matchup battle against this Mariners lineup. And A.J. Hinch is one of the best managers in baseball. And, I mean, the amount of Astros playoff runs that he, was at the helm for and everything, man, he's a damn good manager. And so to see Dan, get the best of him in a Game 5 winner-take-all series, man, I think I've been critical of Dan's managing throughout the season, and I think there's been reason to be, but this playoff, specifically, not just the Leo Rivas pinch hitting, but the way that he set the rotation going into the divisional series.
The staff, yes.
I mean, it's been absolutely incredible. So, I mean, I wanted to talk about that decision because I think it's fascinating. I know we're just over time here, but he decides to go with Luis Castillo and George Kirby in games 1 and 2 of the ALDS, forfeiting basically Logan Gilbert the ability to start 2 games in the series and waiting to throw him in game 3 because Luis and George are so good at home versus on the road. That could have completely blown up in his face.
Yes.
I mean, you lost Game 1 and everyone's like, oh, here we go. And then Luis shoves in Game 2. Logan shoves in Game 3. He's been using the bullpen masterfully.
Yes.
I mean, it's just been absolutely incredible. That's a situation where if you lose in that ALDS, you're like, why'd you slot the rotation like that? Dan Wilson knew that. He knew he was taking a risk. But he didn't care because he thought it was the best decision.
Yes, and, they talk about analytics, how is it taking over the game. That wasn't an analytic move when he moved Rivas, when he burned Dom Canzone. And that was a gut move right there. That was knowing baseball. That was a staff coming together and making a group decision, and Dan Wilson saying, okay, let's go with it. So there goes to show you that baseball is not just about the numbers. There is managers that still go on a gut feeling. They don't always go with the numbers and the situation and all that. And I think Dan Wilson has balanced the two, the analytics and the gut feeling. I like what I see. I love his demeanor. Hopefully he can carry this team all the way to the World Series.
We will end our Mariners conversation with this. Teams that go up 2-0 with both wins on the road in a series have advanced 26 out of 30 times. That is 87% of the time. And in just the championship series, where teams have gone up 2-0 with both wins on the road, teams have advanced 14 of 15 times. That is 93% of the time. The Mariners are up 2-0 with 3 games here in Seattle at T-Mobile Park. Gotta be feeling pretty good about it.
Yes, and I just want to say for the 100th time, okay, don't get don't get complacent.
Yes.
Get greedy, Mariners. Get greedy. No giveaway games, no throwaway games. Go up 3-0 on Wednesday night tonight and go ahead and close it out this week. Do not get complacent. Get greedy.
Absolutely. With that, let's move on to our Seahawk conversation. DJack, this Seahawk team has exceeded every single, not your expectations. You thought they were going to win 13. You thought they were going to win 13 games.
Oh, you know
I called
what?
you crazy.
It's still a chance.
There is still a chance.
Yes.
They've exceeded every single one of my expectations. This offense has been, I would say, a lot better than I thought it would. I think the numbers make them the unit look better than they are as a whole.
Yes.
I think, this past Jaguars game, there were a lot of lulls with the offense. They got it done when it mattered, but man, they were really trying to hand that game to Jacksonville.
Yes.
I didn't love the play calling in this one, but JSN is one of, if not the best wide receiver in the entire league. Sam Darnold is proving that he is a top 10 quarterback in the league, if not higher than that, thanks to some injuries to the elite guys. I mean, he's third in passing yards in the entire league. Sam Darnold, the guy who, had Vegas and everyone predicting the Seahawks to finish with a losing record this season, just totally forgot that he won 14 games from the Minnesota Vikings last year. They have been absolutely incredible, but I want to start this conversation with the defense. The defense has been special. Second in the league against the rush. They are the sixth best scoring defense, and they have the second most sacks in the entire league. What are you seeing from this defense?
What I saw last week was a defensive line that got after it. I mean, you can go down the line, and I see Owusu finally rounding into shape, look like he's jumpy off the edge, and that's what I've been talking about that Seahawks needed. Somebody jumpy off the edge to get to the quarterback, and boy, did they get to the quarterback last week. Trevor Lawrence is still seeing ghosts. DeMarcus Lawrence had his best game as a Seahawk, if you ask me. Byron Murphy is coming into his own as one of those first-rounders that I picked to break out this season. You can go down the line. Owusu's rounding into shape. He had a great game. Leonard Williams is all over the place, 30 yards down the field, making open field tackles, game-saving tackles, if you ask me. I think he had a field goal block. So Leonard Williams is being that leader. The defensive line showed up last week and showed the Seahawks that they do have some big ones that they can count on.
Yeah, I mean, Nwosu with a sack and a half, DeMarcus Lawrence with 2 sacks, and then Byron Murphy with another 2 sacks to add to his total. Right after becoming a dad, by the way. Pretty cool. A lot of dad strength. The most impressive stat that I've seen probably this season was from this game. The Seahawks, 33 pressures on 42 dropbacks of Trevor Lawrence. I mean, that is absolutely absurd. Let's see. That is a 79% pressure rate. If you're above 50, that's elite. 79%? I mean, Trevor Lawrence he had to just have gone. He wanted to go home.
Yeah, he was
there's no way he was having fun.
And I want to give it up to Shaq Griffin also. He was all over the place. And so was Kobe Bryant. The secondary held up. Josh Jobe was out there battling. He gave up a touchdown, but I thought he was in position. It happens, so I think it was a complete full effort from the defense, and the defense is fine. Once they get their players back, they'll start rounding into shape. You have the experience of bringing in those bench players now, so everybody can get a play. I like the way this defense looked, but I want to talk about this offense. It's Sam Darnold. I mean, who would have thunk it? Sam Darnold. They didn't expect this from him. It doesn't look fluky. It looks good. He looks good in the pocket. He looks good with his decisions. He's still making that bonehead play, 1 or 2 plays, but he's gotten away with it so far. So I like to see him tighten that up. But I am concerned. I'm concerned with this run game. And I don't care what anybody says. I understand Ken Walker is a great running back, but right now he's just not getting it done. It's feast or famine. It's 9-yard gain or a 2-yard loss. It's no in between. I'd love to see what Jacardier Wright can do. We need some juice in that backfield. I am concerned with this run game, Ethan.
Yeah, I think, I hear your concerns. I don't know if going to Jacardier Wright for me personally is the solution. I think it's just the run blocking. Like, I just don't see a lot of space for Zach Charbonnet and Ken Walker to be operating in. And yeah, it is a concern because if this team wants to go to the promised land like they want to, they're going to need to be able to run the ball. So, they're in the bottom half of the league in rushing offense. They're not at the very bottom. They're just slightly below average, still averaging just over 100 yards per game. So it's not dire, I would say. It's definitely the weakest part of their team, though. Yes. Offense and defense.
And what happened to Zach Charbonnet? He was like, I was lobbying for him to start, and all of a sudden after game 1, he's disappeared. Is he healthy? Is he not? What happened to Zach Charbonnet? Now, and I see them keep pitching it to him, sweeping it to him.
Oh, my God.
That is not his game.
No.
It's nerve-wracking. So That's where the play calling comes in.
That was like
right
3
there.
or 4 times.
Why are you tossing it to Zach Charbonnet? He needs to go north-south, and you're making his game ineffective. And this is why I say this backfield needs a little bit more juice, because you're not showing the trust or showing that you know the running back's game. If you're going to toss, it goes to Ken Walker. If you want to hand off and go north-south, that's Zach Charbonnet.
Yeah, it doesn't make sense to me, and I can see the facet of you want to catch the defense off guard, but like you're just doing it bad. You want to run the toss with Ken Walker 3 times, get some yards, and then when Charbonnet is in, when they're not expecting the toss, then you can go to it as sort of a shakeup. But did they run a toss to Kenneth Walker? Like you're going to call 5 tosses in the game. At least 4 of them should be going to Ken Walker,
right.
not the other way around.
KYP, know your personnel.
Yeah, I like that. I like that. KYP, okay, yeah.
KYP, man.
I mean, we talk about the concerns with the running game, but, the passing game has been absolutely
Yes.
incredible. Another week for Gray Zabel where he did not allow a pressure. The only offensive lineman qualifying this week that did not allow a pressure. That's like the 3rd or 4th week out of the 6 games that we've said that about Gray Zabel.
We got
this
one.
guy, we did. We finally got one.
We got one.
And they're also much more effective running the ball to the left side because of the push that Gray Zabel is getting. So, it's incredible. And yeah, the passing offense, 4th best in the league. They're scoring the 5th most points per game in the entire league. I just did not expect this.
No.
I expected the 6th best scoring defense in the league to be supplemented by an average offense where Sam Darnold's sort of managing the game.
Yes.
Whatever, just sort of get points where we can. Similar to the 2012, 2013, teams that when Russ came. This is just not what I was expecting. And can we talk about JSN?
Yes.
Oh my God.
Now I had a
Who
question.
is better than him in the league?
I had a question for you though, and I wanted to answer the question also. Is JSN a number 1 wide receiver?
Yes. He's leading the entire NFL in yards by 80 yards. He's got 696 yards. There's only one other guy, Puka Nacua, with over 600. He is lapping everybody. And you look at what he can do, the ways that he's been beating dudes. He can play out of the slot. He can play outside. He can find the soft spot in the zone. He can beat you in man-to-man. He can take the top off the defense. Name me anything that you want a wide receiver to do, a skill set that you want a receiver to have, and JSN has it, and he is showcasing it on a week-to-week basis. With DK Metcalf, we talked ad nauseum over the offseason about whether to pay him before they ended up trading him. I was a proponent of trading him because I didn't think he was going to be worth the cost. And the reason was we saw so many games where DK Metcalf would disappear. The defense would take him away. It's like, okay, and then after the game, it's like, well, why didn't we get the ball to DK? Well, the defense was catering to him when they're putting 2 guys on him every time. It's hard to get him the ball. Elite wide receivers do not disappear. And DK Metcalf is a spectacular talent. He's an awesome wide receiver. I think he's in that Julio category. We talk about star, not a superstar. With JSN, everybody knows that you have to game plan for JSN. Yet, I think it's like 5 out of the 6 games over 100 yards.
Yes.
With, if he's taking the top off the defense, he's doing everything. He can beat you in so many different ways. And that's one of the things where DK was a little bit limited.
Yes.
JSN is a superstar wide receiver, and I cannot wait for John Schneider to lock him up for as long as JSN will allow.
You ready to lock him up?
I'm ready to lock him up.
Up until last week, I was saying he was an emerging number 1 wide receiver. I would say he wasn't there yet. But after seeing him last week, and his one play in particular, and the ball didn't even go to him. He checked every box for a number 1 wide receiver in my eyes, except for dictating the defense, dictating coverage. That's what separates a number 1 wide receiver from a great or good wide receiver. Do you dictate the defense? He went on a post and took everybody with him. Mm-hmm. A.J. Barner is wide open for a 40-something yard gain, if not more. Seals the game right there.
Oh, there's a 61-yard catch. The same 61 yards JSN had on his ball over the top.
And that was all JSN. If you watch the tape, they replayed it. If you watched it, the safety went with JSN. Barner routed his man up.
Yep.
Trust me, he turned him around. He was doing a pirouette. And I'm telling you, I watched it, and I was so impressed with that one play. And when I saw that, I said, "Yep, he's arrived." That's a number one receiver right there. When you dictate the defense, when you dictate coverage, that's when you know you got one. We have one in JSN. He is an emerging superstar, number one in the league as a wide receiver, and I love it. And Sam Darnold has been locking in on him, getting him the ball.
Yep.
It's a little bit of a concern. I like to see him get another target, but my star watch from last week, Cooper Kupp got his first touchdown as a Seahawk.
That was pretty cool.
Hey, what more can I say?
I think one of only a few players to score a touchdown at every single level of football in the state of Washington.
Yes.
Pretty that's a pretty cool stat.
I saw that, yeah.
So emerging superstar or superstar?
I think he's emerging. You
Okay.
know,
I thought we were going to get the full DJack superstar stamp.
You can't get the full superstar. You need more than 6 games, you know.
All of last season.
All of last season. Last season was what he was supposed to do as a first rounder. Now you're taking the next step to an emerging superstar.
Okay.
Get me to the half of the year.
I need you to write down this ladder.
Yeah, it's steps. Hey, it's steps to this, okay?
Mike McDonald's a big process guy.
You don't want to be too early with that because guess what? You know, you got Sam Darnold keying on him, so that means the defense is going to have a chance. They're going to start game planning for him, and that's what we talk about. You saying he can get open regardless? That's what I want to see on a consistent basis, and then he will have arrived.
Yeah, well, let's look ahead to next week. So the Seahawks are sitting at 4-2. Really quick, where the Seahawks rank in the NFC for you?
And I would say top 5. I would say top 5.
Who's better than the Seahawks?
I mean, the Bucks.
Yeah,
I actually put them at 1. You got the Rams. You still have the Rams.
You think the Rams are better than the Seahawks right now?
I do not, but they always are a thorn in our side.
Okay.
McVay, regardless of what team he has, he comes up here and he beats up on the Seahawks. That's facts, okay? Then I still, even though they're struggling right now, I still put the Eagles ahead of them.
Okay.
I put the Eagles ahead of him. So you got the Bucks, you have the Rams, you have the Eagles, and then you have the Lions. So I would put Seahawks square at number 5 in the NFC on my ladder right there. And it's a little debate on whether they're better than the Eagles or not, but they get that respect as the defending champions. So it goes Bucks, Rams, Eagles, Lions, then the Seahawks.
Top 5 dead or alive right there.
Top 5 dead or alive.
I'm going the NFL power rankings are interesting, and I think they have it right. They have, and this is the entire NFL, they have number 1, Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I would also agree with that. Number 2, the Detroit Lions, and the number 3, your Seattle Seahawks. Go check that out on social media. It's pretty fun to look at. I've been watching the graphic on loop for a while because that's pretty damn cool. I did not expect that. And the national love is pretty cool. Those are my top 3 teams in the NFC. I think the Rams are a beatable team.
Yes, I do too.
I think the Eagles have shown, man, there is some dysfunction in that locker room. When you got, they were undefeated. A.J. Brown voiced his frustration over not getting the football, which, man, talking about DK Metcalf.
Yeah.
Also another reason why. Anyway, that's a whole nother conversation.
A
report comes out. Him and Devontae Smith are not happy that they're not getting targets, even though they're undefeated, and they go out and lose 2 or 3 straight games. I mean, I just feel like the Seahawks do not have that dysfunction right now.
And this is a dysfunction of a champion. They went through this last season, actually.
Yeah.
Where they went through the doldrums right there. And guess what? They pulled out. They got together in time enough to get a championship. They get that respect.
That's fair.
The roster is there. The team is there. You're talking about A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith with Saquon in the backfield. So the personnel is there. The coaches are there.
The tush push is there.
Yeah, the unstoppable tush push is there. So I'm not going to count the Eagles out. They dropped 2. I mean, just like you don't count the Chiefs out. That's why it's hard for me to put the Seahawks in the top 3, especially in the NFL. That sounds crazy to me.
We're talking NFC, but the NFL power rankings, that's the entire league.
Well,
and those are power rankings,
I mean,
so that's like right now.
Yeah, you know what? It goes from week to week, and they showed themselves well. Another concern that I have of the Seahawks is closing out these games because I felt like you controlled the Jaguars. The defense was, great, but they still had a chance to win at the end. The offense needs to learn how to shut these games down. And what do you do? What do they tell you do to salt the game away? You run the ball. And that's why I'm concerned about the running game, because you need that running game in the fourth quarter when you have a lead to salt that game away. And the Seahawks have not been able to do that. You saw the Cardinals almost come back on them also when a game they controlled where it didn't even seem like it's supposed to be that close. It's too many of those games for the Seahawks where you feel like they've dominated the game. Why is it so close? And that's what I want to see the Seahawks do, is step on the throats of their opponent and go ahead and close it out in the fourth quarter. And I think you need Sam Darnold and the running game to get going for that to happen.
Well, and hopefully they can close out this next game against the Houston Texans on Monday Night Football. It's going to be a fun one. Let's go to our Star Watch look ahead. My player to watch, Leonard Williams. I think this Houston Texans offensive line is not. They got rid of some big names over the offseason. They just traded away Cam Robinson. Over the offseason, they traded away Laremy Tunsil. I like Leonard Williams to Big Cat to get it going. DeMarcus Lawrence, 2 sacks. Uchenna Nwosu, 1.5 sacks. Byron Murphy, 2 sacks yesterday. This past Sunday against the Jaguars. I like Leonard Williams to get in on the party in a big way against the Texans on Monday Night Football.
I think he had a 1/2 sack, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, no, he was active, just not as active as the other guys.
He didn't get to the quarterback, but trust me, he was all over the place. I mean, he was 30 yards down the field making tackles. He was all over the place. I'm definitely satisfied with Leonard Williams. I mean, he's a great player, the leader on this defense right now, if you ask me. On my Star Watch, I got Ernest Jones, the quarterback of the defense. And I'm going to tell you right now, I saw him make a couple tackles, like the 2-point conversion against Travis Etienne at the goal line. Yeah. Travis looked like he was going in for 2 points, and he met Ernest Jones. Or should I say Ernest Jones met him, and everything stopped. And that's what I've been seeing out of Ernest Jones. He's a short tackler. When he gets a hold of you, when he gets you in his sights, you are not going forward. You're going backwards. Yes. I love it. Look out for Ernest Jones. I'm looking for him to get a pick this game. I like the way he's been dropping back into coverage, maybe 10 or more tackles. Ernest Jones is my star this week.
I like it. Let's move on. We got our standings update.
Yes.
For our NFL picks. So far.
Money line. Money line McReynolds.
I had another perfect week last week. I don't know what's going on. We need to get this segment sponsored, and I got to be giving out some parlay advice.
Yes.
I swear, right when I start putting these parlays in, the magic's all going to go away.
You got this, man.
But it's pretty fun right now.
This.
My underdog was the Bears over the Commanders. That hit. That was pretty cool. Let's see, DJack, you're 5 wins behind.
Yeah.
We got Austin in third. Will Ortner actually in third place, just 3 behind. And then DJack right behind.
Will looked like he ahead of me at 11-7. I only got 9, so Will's in second.
Will's rocking it right now. Yeah. Well, so let's get to those picks for Week 7. Will Ortner of Chat Sports, friend of the podcast, his underdog, same one as me actually, going to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, the supposed best team in the NFC, as we've been talking about them, over the second best team in the NFC, in my opinion, the Detroit Lions, on the road. So it's going to be a really fun game. I wouldn't be surprised if it goes either way. But yeah, Will and I on the same page with our underdog picks. Will's other 2 picks, the Patriots over the Titans. Patriots playing some good football right now. And then the Pittsburgh Steelers on Thursday Night Football over the Joe Burrow-less Cincinnati Bengals. DJack, do you got your picks? You want me to read them off for you?
Yeah, read them off for me.
Yeah, so DJack, your underdog, the New Orleans Saints, who we saw up close and personal. It's the Seahawks. You're picking them to win.
I like the way they
over
look.
Caleb Williams and the Chicago
Bears.
Bears.
They looked last week. I'm actually a fan of Spencer Rattler. I don't think his demise has been greatly exaggerated. I like Rattler. I like what I see out of the Saints. Yes, they got boat raced and gave us a gift up here in Seattle, but I think they're playing good ball right now. Look for the Saints to win as a dog. Me personally, I'm a fan of playing against Spencer Rattler. If the Seahawks defense could do that every week, that'd be pretty fun. Yes.
Your other 2 picks, the Miami Dolphins over the Cleveland Browns. Man, that's going to be a stinker.
Yeah.
Huh? That's a tough game. I will not be tuning into that.
Yes. Look for the Dolphins. They have an inner turmoil with Tua calling a couple of his teammates out.
Yep.
I think they respond and bounce back this week. And the Browns are the gift that keep on giving.
Yeah.
With Dylan Gabriel at quarterback.
Gabriel.
So look for the Dolphins to get a win.
Maybe Shador makes an appearance or something like that.
Maybe.
And then you also got the Patriots over the Tennessee Titans.
Drake May.
That's
all I'm going to say.
Let's go to our producer extraordinaire, Austin. He's underdog the Atlanta Falcons, looking for a second straight upset over the San Francisco 49ers. DJ, you had the Falcons over the Bills. You picked that last week.
I love the way the Falcons look.
Yeah.
And they definitely looked the part against the Bills. Penix finally finding Drake London. Then you have one of the best running backs, looked like Saquon 2.0, and Bijan Robinson.
Yeah.
Looked amazing this last game. They have all the weapons in place with Kyle Pitts at tight end. Look for the Atlanta Falcons to rise up and scare a lot of people. I think they'll make the playoffs.
Wow. All right, there we go. Yeah, so Austin's underdog. The Falcons taking down the very injured San Francisco 49ers. That would be a welcome sight for all Seahawks fans out there. He's also got the Broncos over the Giants and then the Bears over the Saints. So he's against your underdog pick there,
Somebody got to win right there.
Somebody's got to win. For my picks, my underdog, already talked about it, the Bucs over the Lions. Me and Will are paired there. I got the Chiefs over the Raiders. I cannot see the Chiefs dropping that game in any scenario because it is the Kansas City Chiefs.
Raiders
It's going to be a close game, though.
Raiders play them tough.
Yeah, that's a good point. It's the Chiefs, man. Yeah. Like they're gonna figure it out. It's gonna be a close game. They have not been putting teams away, but I think the Chiefs take that one. And then my final pick, which I am shocked nobody else has, the Seattle Seahawks taking down the Houston Texans. We talk about how awesome this Seahawks team is. Austin Lane, I'm talking to you too. You're the biggest Seattle sports fan I know.
Yes.
And I don't see any of you guys picking the Seahawks.
I like to enjoy the game. I don't pick the Seahawks game because I just don't want to have a vested interest as far as picking them. So
you're going to be sad if they lose anyway.
I think they're going to win every week. I picked them to win 13 games, so I don't need to pick them, But if they will go ahead and beat up on Houston, I think this will be a closer matchup than people realize because I think Houston is finally finding their stride with C.J. Stroud. Look for the Seahawks-Houston game to be close, but the Seahawks pull it out.
All right. Well, those are our picks. I'm looking to extend my lead,
and
I'm hoping that Seahawk pick helps me extend that lead because nobody's got the faith.
You need to come back to the pack, man. Come on.
We'll see about that.
Bad weeks here and there.
That's going to do it for this week's episode. For DJack, Dante Jackson, I'm Ethan McReynolds. Go Mariners. See you next time on The Sidelines.
Let's go!
On the Sidelines is available wherever you get your podcast.